ladies I've ever met in my life. Not only is she smart and intelligent and driven, she's really freaking funny. I met her through Toastmasters, and she's one that has encouraged me to engage and expand. She actually asked me to become president of our club, and I was like, me? You guys are all amazing speakers. So today, I'm not going to talk about COVID, not going to talk about real estate, certainly not going to talk about politics. I am going to bring some sunshine to the digital world. So with no further ado, Mrs. Hallie.
Hey, Vietnam, right? Oh my, that's great. This is a first for me, so lead through it.
You know, Hallie, you're not 21 anymore, right? You're a little older, but you bring the energy, and you're vivacious, you're funny, you're sharp. You can make your speech. I inspire to be a great speaker like you. And I would love to hear more about, first of all, like what inspired you to join Toastmasters? Obviously, don't want to make this just about Toastmasters Day. I'd love to just learn more about you.
Well, I'm surprised that you feel that I'm not that young, that I've been in Toastmasters quite a while. I didn't think that anyone could tell, but yes, as you can see, because we are live and there's a picture of me there, that I have aged a little bit while I've been in Toastmasters. I joined in 1996, so that gives me 24 years with Toastmasters. And believe me, it has been quite a ride. You asked me, why did I join Toastmasters? Unfortunately, I did not join Toastmasters when I was at Motorola, and that's when I could have used it. When I did presentations and everything, I needed to improve my speaking abilities at that time. And then when I retired, I joined Toastmasters. Does that make sense? It doesn't seem to me.
It definitely makes sense. So you wanted to become, you feel that if you would have joined Toastmasters while you're with Motorola, that you would have been a better leader.
I think I would have been a much better leader. I would have been able to make the people a little bit more appreciative of their jobs and been a little bit more assertive in helping them grow, because Toastmasters has been the place where I have seen people grow and do things they never thought they could do. And it's wonderful to watch.
I know I have loved seeing growth. I feel that definitely I have personally have grown as a speaker. I can tell you that when I first started public speaking, I could barely make eye contact. I would be shaky and nervous, and I probably looked like somebody that might have been coming off of a bender or something because I was so nervous. But the, the thing I love about our club is like we're so encouraging. And I've seen people that can barely, just like that, can barely talk to being a great, engaging, funny speaker in just a matter of a couple of months.
You know, that is so true. And I love it because I have watched these people too, and I appreciate what they've done. We have a gentleman at our morning club, and I have watched him from the time that he joined, and he could hardly speak anything. And now I would say he could become a professional speaker and even make money at it and do presentations professionally.
I know I've seen the same thing, and it's almost like a different person. It's like, wow. But that's just the support. We learn so much from each other.
We do, and each one encourages the other one, and I love that. And we joke, we have fun. It is wonderful. You can't do anything in Toastmasters without being evaluated for it, and that's how we improve.
And I know we haven't seen each other in person because we're doing our meetings on Zoom right now. I do miss the donuts. That's one thing we can't get virtually.
Unfortunately, but wouldn't it be great if we could?
I know. I would send you one right now.
And I would eat it right now.
I love hearing about your stories, and you've shared a lot. You come from, your mom had 7 children, and so you were one of 7.
Right.
The first 4 came in 4 years. Bless your mom's heart.
She was a very strong woman, I'll tell you. I don't remember, but I have been told over the years that I am the 3rd daughter down, and my father was at National Guard camp. And when he came home to see the birth of what he was hoping was his son, his wife had to tell him that he had another girl. Well, that was just too much for him. He just went right back to National Guard camp and did his thing. And there was mother with 3 babies.
Ah, well, I feel her. I do think that 4 girls is easier than 4 boys, but I probably would have had 15 boys before I might have given up trying to have a girl. But your dad was on the other side of things. How was it growing up in Maine?
It was wonderful. We did so many things because there was 7 of us, but the 4 first ones, we had kind of a separation of like 14 years before the 2 other girls joined us. But we did such wonderful things. With 4 children, we could do our own circus, and we could have a tightrope walker. We could have a fortune teller. We could have an animal tamer with a dog and cat being put in cages. We could just do so many things. But Jennifer, you know what my favorite thing was? It was taking a blanket, going across the street, putting the blanket down in the midst of the tall grass and reading.
I can be right there with you. I love books and nature. You obviously you have, we change with the times, and this is a different time. It's a different time than when you grew up. It's definitely a different time than when I grew up. And I actually appreciate that I grew up without the internet and social media and technology, because it forced us to be creative. And so as we're on Facebook, on technology, share with me the power of your imagination and like why that's important, because I do think that's something that right now, especially like while we're all quarantined, kind of have to use our imagination to have fun. Can't just go out to a nice dinner spot or a dancing spot or a comedy show. We kind of have to make our own entertainment, and should definitely have more than just Netflix. So why is imagination important?
I think the imagination will carry us through however long that we have to be social distancing or whatever. If you did not have an imagination, you would only see the 4 walls that are surrounding you at this time. But with your imagination, you can go anywhere. I can go back to the trip in Israel. I can go back to my trip in Egypt and all the wonderful experiences of my grandson when I took him to England. And I can just go back there and remember all those things. But I also can look forward to thinking about, what are they going to become? Am I going to be here? Are they going to be something that I had not imagined for them yet. And all of those things are our dreams of the future. What is my great granddaughter going to do? She's only 2 now. But when we think of the future, what is her world going to be like? Mine has changed from a 4-party ring-a-ding telephone to these new little smartphones and all of that we have today, and Facebook, and it's wonderful. But you have to experience it. You can't be afraid of using it.
Fear. Yeah, conquering fear. I would love to ask you, tell me about a time that you overcame fear, because a lot of people that might be watching might think, oh, I'm terrible at public speaking, because what do they say? To make people really get scared, it's like taxes, public speaking, and death. You obviously, everybody has overcome fear at some point, some little, some small, but I would love to hear your personal story.
One of the things that comes to mind quickly was when I was at Motorola. I was the only woman in the manufacturing directorships. I was the first one to be that. And I had to deal with all of these men, and they did not always appreciate taking instruction from me. And it made me fearful that I would say or do the wrong thing. But I trusted my instinct, and most of all, I trusted my heart. I've always been led from my heart, and I think that is a good thing to do. The other fear that I faced was starting a business of my own. I opened a tea parlor with the help of many friends and my son, who was a carpenter. He helped me design it, he helped me make it, and I opened it at Guadalupe and Dobson, and it was called Abbey Gardens. And not only did we have a tea parlor, but we had a gift shop. And you know what the funnest thing was?
What?
Shopping. I love going to the LA Mart and shopping for the store, but it was constant pressure. Were we going to be able to pay the bills? Would we sell enough tea? Would we sell gifts? So I think those were two of my biggest fears.
And that is a scary fear right now. I am a foodie, and we are in one of the foodie capitals in the world, and my heart goes out because I know for restaurant owners, they don't open up restaurants most of the time to just make money. They're so passionate about providing food and an experience to people and sharing that. So, and I do have my own tea here. I love tea almost more than coffee now. I never thought that would be the day. Did you have good pastries too, like crumpets and little tea sandwiches?
Well, I have tried scones everywhere. And I'll tell you very honestly, no one could make scones as good as Abbey Gardens. We knew how to make scones. And when you have scones, you have to have clotted cream. And we could make that and loved it. I must have weighed 20 pounds heavier when I was sampling the food so that we could serve it in the tea parlor. But it was wonderful when you specialize in scones, clotted cream, and quiche. Oh, what a world to live in.
Oh, you're making me hungry. So you've conquered fear. You have remained creative. One thing that I am super passionate about, and I have been passionate about this since I can remember, since I read the book Sam I Am, is I just love to learn and grow and learn new things. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Is that important to you? And can you tell me like why it's still important to you?
I think growing and learning is the most important thing a person can do because it opens up new avenues for you. If I wasn't interested in learning more and more all the time, I would probably just sit on the couch and vegetate watching TV. But I go beyond that. I love the technology. And is it challenging? Yes. But there are so many people that can help you with the technology. We have so many people in Toastmasters that are engineers that write off of the websites and do things of this nature. And I'll tell you, it is wonderful to learn and keep your mind active. Your mind is as important as your body.
Yeah, and I know we now know science has showed us we have two brains, one in our gut and one in our mind, and it's super important to keep both healthy and active. I have shared with people that know me know how close I was to my grandma, and you remind me of my grandma spirit. But I wish my grandma would have taken better care of herself. And I wish she would have also kept her mind engaged in learning and growing, because I do believe she'd still be here with us. You know, if you had to give, well, give us some advice, give us some life advice from somebody that has accomplished so much in their life, that is continuing to grow, that's funny as heck. I learned so much from you, and I just want to share you with the world.
I would encourage everyone to keep learning because it opens up a new world for you. And if you're not constantly learning, then you're going backwards because your mind needs you to feed it. And when we feed our minds, then we look forward to the future. And I intend to be here for some time to come because I'm not done yet. And watching my grandsons and my granddaughter grow and learn, it's wonderful. And they experience some of the fears that I had, and I can help them through it. I can encourage them. I'm a big part of their life. And I look forward to being there for a long time for them because I think they need sometimes an older and wiser person to interject now and then. Because when you see the world at 23 and 24, believe me, it's a lot different than when you're in your 80s.
And I love that you say older and wiser, because just because somebody's racking up in age doesn't mean they're wiser. I had two grandmas, one that didn't have the best life, and it let it get to her, and she wasn't as wise, and it almost hardened her. And as a young person, I looked at my sweet grandma, and then I looked at my dad's mom, and I'm like, it's almost like you can go two ways as you get older. You could either let life keep you down, or you could let life inspire you. And you obviously have had setbacks. I don't, can anybody really live life without having setbacks? But you didn't let that get to you. You overcame that, and you are wiser.
Right. And I think a lot of it is because I have joy in my heart and I'm always positive. Yes, I have seen a lot of tragedies, but you know something? I was always there. I was there when my mother passed. I was there when my father passed. And I was there when my husband passed. And I thought to myself, how grateful I am. Not many people get that opportunity, but I looked upon it as a gift from God that I had been allowed to do that. And I find that I am grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my mind. It just keeps going and it wants to be fed more and more. And sometimes I wonder if it's just not too much. I'm a multitasker, so I do two or three things at one time, and I just seem to feed on that.
Being grateful is so important, so much so that scientists have done brain scans.
Jennifer, I cannot hear you.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me now? Sounds like the Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes or no?
I can't hear you.
Oh, no. Well, I will type this to you. Being grateful, we know that with science, that when you are grateful, you cannot be upset. You can't be angry. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to call you.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work. This is a tech hack I'm trying to work. When you're grateful, you cannot be angry. It's impossible to feel both emotions at the same time. And
that's true.
I'm sure you agree. And do you believe that because you've been able to lead with gratefulness, even in times of tragedy, that has been able to keep your spirit alive?
I think being grateful adds so much to a life. If you're not grateful for anything, then how can you look forward to what is going to happen in the future? If you're not grateful, how can you relate to other people? And how can you treasure your daughters or your son or your friends that stand by you and are always there for you? If you're not grateful for the gifts that God has given us, then there's no beauty in the world. There's no wonder among people anymore.
Can you hear me, Hallie? Sorry, Facebook. Gotta love the world of Zoom and technology. It saves us and it sometimes gets us in the rear end.
There you are again.
Okay. Well, I'll wrap this up because we are having technical difficulties, but I'm going to ask you a question now that has nothing to do with joy or gratefulness or anything serious. I love what if questions. So if you could go on a date with any celebrity or famous person, who would it be?
Oh my, what a question. I would have to think of that, but the first person that comes to mind is, as a famous person, would be Tom Hanks.
Ooh.
I have always loved him in movies, and as I learn more and more about him as a person, I love the man that he is. I love the way he thinks and what he gives to other people. I know that he has joy in his heart too.
I love it. Actually, Forrest Gump is my all-time favorite movie. I think I've watched it at least 27 times from start to finish. All right, Hallie, any last thoughts, any quotes, any jokes, anything you want to share with the world this morning?
I just want to tell everyone out there that is home alone, think of the movie Home Alone and all that he did to have fun. There's so much that you can do in your house, and you can also experience things. There are things in that closet you haven't seen in years. Dig them out, go through them, and have some fun. Enjoy being alone, enjoy what you have learned, and look forward to walking out that front door.
I love it. I love you. Joy, gratefulness, learning, curiosity, imagination. That's the world. And we all have those capabilities as humans. And if we embrace that more and came with that curiosity and not the judgment, we're going to be progressing as a human race a lot quicker.
I totally agree.
And that I have learned a lot of that from you. So thank you so much for being on today. And thank you for sharing yourself with everybody. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I've enjoyed it very much. It's a new first for me.
Plug, we have the best Toastmasters chapter, in my opinion, not because I'm the president, but because really they are so encouraging, so awesome. We had a couple great speeches today. I always learn 6:45 to 8 a.m. every Friday at the BMW dealership when we get back to life again. Right now we're doing them on Zoom. So if you just want to check it out, private message me and I will send you the link and you can just hop on Zoom in your pajamas if you like, no makeup required. And I would love to share this group with anybody that wants to grow with an encouraging, fun, joyful group. So thank you, Hallie. Thank you, Facebook. Have a beautiful Friday morning, everybody.